आइए अब आपको पाठ 2 हीरे मोती नामक पाठ के द्वितीय पृष्ठ का वाचन और तत्पश्चात उसकी व्याख्या प्रस्तुत की जा रही है। आइए वाचन करते हैं। नहीं, जो भी तुम चाहोगे पालोगे, उसने तपाक से कहा। युवक बोला, वह कैसे? पहले तुम बताओ कि चाहते क्या हो। युवक ने कहा, मैं हीरे मोती चाहता हूं। युवक ने मजाक किया, पा सकते हो। वो बूढ़ा बोला, हीरे मोती तुम्हारे चरणों में लौट सकते हैं। बताओ कैसे? क्या तुम दोगे? हाँ, एक हीरा और एक मोती मैं तुम्हें दूंगा, फिर उससे तुम चाहे जितने पा लेना। युवक झट से बोला, लाओ दो। हाँ, मैं तुझे एक हीरा कर्म का देता हूं, दूसरा मोती समय का। इनको संभाल कर रख ले और जा, पाएगा। वह युवक उस बूढ़े की बात पर हंस पड़ा और उसे बेवकूफ समझकर आगे चल पड़ा। कुछ आगे जाने पर उसका माथा ठनका। एक हीरा कर्म का और एक मोती समय का। एक हीरा कर्म का और एक मोती समय का। कर्म और समय, समय और कर्म। कुछ सोचने के बाद वास्तव में यही हीरा मोती, मोती हीरा है, और जिसके पास ये हैं वो सब कुछ पा सकता है। इस ज्ञान प्राप्ति के बाद वह युवक मान गया कि वह बूढ़ा व्यक्ति पागल नहीं था। यह कहानी यहीं समाप्त हो जाती। यह प्राचीन कथा इस बात का प्रमाण है कि वास्तव में जिस मनुष्य के पास कर्म और समय का जोड़ा होता है, वह अवश्य ही जीवन में सब कुछ पा सकता है। ये मिलते कहाँ हैं? इनकी कीमत क्या है? कर्म प्रत्येक उस मनुष्य के पास मुफ्त में होता है जो शरीर से स्वस्थ है, और समय मुफ्त में हर एक के पास होता है, बिना किसी लागत के। ये दोनों वस्तुएं प्रत्येक मनुष्य के पास होती हैं, चाहे वह गरीब हो या अमीर, पढ़ा लिखा हो या अनपढ़। इनके बल पर मनुष्य सब कुछ पा सकता है। कर्म और समय सबके पास होता है, इसके बावजूद लोग अभावग्रस्त हैं। आखिर क्यों? इस पाठ का वाचन आप म्यूट करके वीडियो को और पुनः ऊपर से वीडियो को प्रारंभ करके इसका वाचन करेंगे। प्रत्येक शब्द का उच्चारण शुद्ध और सही तरीके से किया जाना चाहिए। जहाँ जिस प्रकार की मात्राओं का प्रयोग हुआ है उसी प्रकार से उनका उच्चारण भी होना चाहिए। उच्चारण करते समय कुछ बातें और भी ध्यान रखने की हैं। जहाँ प्रश्नवाचक चिन्ह लगा हुआ है वहाँ उस वाक्य का उच्चारण करते समय भाव आना चाहिए कि जैसे वो उस पर प्रश्न किया जा रहा है। इसी प्रकार अनेक प्रकार के वाक्य हैं जिन वाक्यों का वाचन करते समय भिन्न भिन्न प्रकार के भाव मस्तिष्क में उत्पन्न होते हैं और एक योग्य वाचक कुशल वक्ता वही होता है जो वाक्य के भाव के आधार पर वाणी में उतार चढ़ाव, विराम लेना इत्यादि बातों पर का ध्यान रखता हुआ लेख का वाचन करता है। अतः सभी विद्यार्थियों से अनुरोध है कि वे पृष्ठ को बड़ी ही सावधानी के साथ एक एक शब्द का सही उच्चारण करते हुए भाव के आधार पर इस पृष्ठ को पढ़ें। तत्पश्चात इसमें आए हुए कठिन शब्दों को अपनी उत्तर पुस्तिका में लिखें। अब इस पृष्ठ का एक्सप्लेनेशन व्याख्या प्रस्तुत की जा रही है। पिछले वीडियो में आपने प्रथम पृष्ठ की व्याख्या सुनी थी। कहानी यहाँ तक हुई थी कि वो नवयुवक उस बूढ़े से कह रहा था कि क्या तुम मुझे वो दे सकते हो जो मैं चाहूँ। जब ये प्रश्न उस युवक ने इस बूढ़े से कहा तो बूढ़े ने बड़ी ही तेजी के साथ जवाब दिया। यहाँ पर तपाक शब्द आया है। तपाक का मतलब होता है झट से। तो उस बूढ़े ने बड़े ही शीघ्रता के साथ झट से जवाब दिया, नहीं, जो भी तुम चाहोगे पालोगे। यहाँ पर एक बात आती है। उस नवयुवक ने कहा जो मैं चाहूँगा वो तुम मुझे दे सकते हो। तो वृद्ध कह रहा है नहीं, जो भी तुम चाहोगे पालोगे। लास्ट के वाक्य पर आपको विचार करना है, पालोगे, और वहाँ था दे दोगे। इसका अर्थ ये है कि वह व्यक्ति मांग रहा था, नवयुवक मांग रहा है, और यह लंगोटी पहने हुए जो वृद्ध है वो कह रहा है हाँ, जो तुम चाहोगे मैं नहीं दे दूंगा, तुम पालोगे। अर्थात कुछ भी हमें फ्री में नहीं मिलता है, हमें परिश्रम करना होता है, तो हमें वो अपने आप मिल जाता है, पाया जाता है, मांगा नहीं जाता, और पाया जाता है कर्म से। युवक इस रहस्य को नहीं समझ पाया। तभी उसने प्रश्न किया, मैं जो चाहूँगा पालूंगा, वह कैसे? तो बूढ़ा हंसकर कहने लगा, पहले तुम बताओ कि चाहते क्या हो। पहले तुम बताओ कि चाहते क्या हो। युवक ने मजाक किया, कहा, महात्मन, मैं हीरे मोती चाहता हूं। बूढ़ा बोला, पा सकते हो, क्यों नहीं पा सकते। हीरे मोती तुम्हारे चरणों में लौट सकते हैं। तुम्हारे चरणों में लौटने का मतलब है तुम्हारे दास हो सकते हैं, तुम्हें आराम से प्राप्त हो सकते हैं। कोई बड़ी बात नहीं है हीरे मोतियों का मिलना। युवक आश्चर्य से पूछने लगा, बताओ कैसे? अगर आसानी से मिल सकते हैं तो बताओ कैसे? क्या ये हीरे मोती आप हमें देंगे? बूढ़े ने कहा, हाँ मैं दूंगा, लेकिन एक हीरा और एक मोती मैं दूंगा, एक ही दूंगा। एक हीरा और एक मोती मैं तुम्हें दूंगा, फिर उससे तुम चाहे जितने पा लेना। एक हीरा एक मोती दूंगा, और उन एक हीरा एक मोती से तुम जितने हीरे और मोती बनाना चाहो उतने हीरे और मोती तुम बना सकते हो। युवक आश्चर्यचकित रह गया, झट से बोला, महात्मन लाइए, फिर दीजिए ना। बूढ़े ने कहा, हाँ मैं तुझे एक हीरा कर्म का देता, हीरा नहीं देता, कर्म रूपी हीरा देता, और दूसरा मोती देता हूं, तो मोती मोती नहीं है, समय का मोती। ये दोनों हीरा और मोती, कर्म का हीरा और समय का मोती, जा इनको संभाल कर रख ले, जा सब पाएगा। अगर तूने इन दोनों के महत्व को समझ ली, कर्म और समय के महत्व को समझ लिया, तो समझ लेना उसके अनुरूप यदि तू कार्य करेगा तो जीवन में सब कुछ पा जाएगा। युवक अब भी उस रहस्य को नहीं समझ पाया था, आखिर यह वृद्ध कहना क्या चाहता है। प्रायः ऐसा ही होता है, किसी संत महात्मा, किसी महापुरुष के कहे हुए शब्दों को हम गहराई से नहीं समझ पाते और उसका मजाक और उपहास उड़ाने लगते हैं, उपहास करने लगते हैं। ऐसे कई बार लोग तर्क वितर्क किया करते हैं, संत महात्माओं की बातों का, फकीरों की बातों का उपहास उड़ाया करते हैं, लेकिन ये तब तक जब तक स्वयं उसकी गहराई तक नहीं पहुंचते हैं। वह युवक भी उस संत की बात पर हंस पड़ा और उसे बेवकूफ़ समझकर आगे चल पड़ा। कई बार जब हम अपने सामने वाले को नहीं समझ पाते हैं तो नासमझ हम स्वयं होते हैं, लेकिन सामने वाले को नासमझ मान लेते हैं। इसमें दोष सामने वाले का नहीं होता, दोष हमारी अज्ञानता का होता है, हमारे खुद के अल्प ज्ञान का होता है। कुछ आगे जाने पर उसका माथा ठनका। ऐसा नहीं है, प्रत्येक व्यक्ति चिंतन करता है। वह युवक रास्ते में जब जा रहा था तो चिंतन कर रहा था, क्या है इस बूढ़े की बात का रहस्य, क्या कह रहा था ये। हीरा कर्म का और मोती समय का मतलब क्या है। हीरा कर्म का अर्थात कर्म का हीरा, मोती समय का, कर्म और समय, समय और कर्म। माथा ठनका, बुद्धि विस्तृत हुई, रहस्य को समझने का प्रयास कर रहा है युवक। कुछ देर सोचने के बाद दिमाग में इस रहस्य का पर्दा हटा, रहस्य पर से पर्दा हटा और उसके बाद समझ में आ गई। सोचने लगा, वास्तव में उस महात्मा ने ठीक कहा है, यही हीरा मोती, मोती हीरा हैं। जिसके पास ये हैं वो सब कुछ पा सकता है। क्या बात कही है संत ने। कर्म का हीरा, कर्म करने पर ही तो हीरे प्राप्त होते हैं, और जिसके पास समय और कर्म दोनों हैं वो क्या नहीं पा सकता, वो सब कुछ पा सकता है। इस ज्ञान प्राप्ति के बाद वह युवक मान गया कि बूढ़ा व्यक्ति पागल नहीं था। वो कब तक पागल था? जब तक वह स्वयं पागल था युवक, जब तक स्वयं युवक में स्वयं समझने की शक्ति नहीं थी, तब तक वो उस संत को पागल समझ रहा था। लेकिन जैसे ही उसके गूढ़ बातों के रहस्य को वो नवयुवक समझ पाया तो उसे लगा कि नहीं, वो वृद्ध पागल नहीं है, वो तो महान बुद्धिमान व्यक्ति है। यह कहानी यहीं समाप्त होती है। यह कहानी इस बात का प्रमाण है, यह कहानी हमें संदेश देती है कि वास्तव में निश्चित रूप से जिस मनुष्य के पास कर्म है, जो मनुष्य शरीर से स्वस्थ है और कर्मशील है और साथ में उसके पास समय का जोड़ है, अर्थात समय और कर्म दोनों जिसके हाथ में हों, वो अवश्य ही जीवन में क्या नहीं पा सकता है। जितने भी महान पुरुष हुए हैं, उन्होंने अपने आप को भाग्य के भरोसे कभी नहीं छोड़ा है। सारे महापुरुषों ने कर्म किए हैं। महात्मा गांधी, महावीर स्वामी, महात्मा बुद्ध, मर्यादा पुरुषोत्तम भगवान श्री राम, श्री कृष्ण। कृष्ण ने गीता में अर्जुन को उपदेश करते समय कहा, हे अर्जुन, कर्मण्येवाधिकारस्ते मां फलेषु कदाचन मां कर्मफल हेतु भूर्मा ते संगोस्तव कर्मणि। हे अर्जुन, कर्म कर, कर्म करने में तेरा अधिकार है, फल प्राप्त करने में तेरा अधिकार नहीं है। लेकिन याद रख, जिस प्रकार से जमीन पर रोपा हुआ एक बीज बदले में प्रकृति एक वृक्ष उत्पन्न करती है और वृक्ष से हजारों बीज प्राप्त होते हैं, उसी प्रकार से जब कर्म रूपी बीज का रोपण किया जाता है तो वो कर्म रूपी बीज 1000 गुना होकर के 1000 फलों के रूप में हमें प्राप्त होता है। इस रहस्य को जिसने समझ लिया है वो कर्म से भाग नहीं सकता। और वैसे भी बिना कर्म किए कोई मनुष्य क्षण मात्र के भी लिए रह नहीं सकता है। आप समझते हैं ऐसा कैसे? हाँ, सोते समय आप सोने का कर्म कर रहे होते हैं, जागते समय आप जागने का कर्म कर रहे होते हैं, हंसते समय आप हंसने का कर्म कर रहे होते हैं। क्या क्षण मात्र के लिए भी कोई व्यक्ति बिना कर्म किए रह सकता है? तो जब हम बिना कर्म किए रह ही नहीं सकते तो क्यों ना हम ऐसे कर्म करें जिससे हमारे भाग्य का निर्माण हो, हम सुखी हों, समृद्ध हों, याचक न बने। मांगना, कहते हैं मांगन मरण समान है, मत को मांगो भीख, अब मांगन से मरबो भलो, यह सतगुरु की सीख। मांगना मरने के समान होता है, कभी किसी से मांगना नहीं चाहिए। अपने भुजाओं के शक्ति पर विश्वास होना चाहिए। किसान भयंकर आतप में, धूप में, भयंकर ठंड में अपने खेतों में जाकर के कठिन परिश्रम करता है, उसे तत्काल उस फल की प्राप्ति नहीं होती, लेकिन समय आने पर उसे फसल प्राप्त होती है। और जब उसे काट कर, मार कर, दाने निकाल कर वो घर में इकट्ठे करता है और उन्हें बाजार में जाकर विक्रय करता है, तो उसे जिस फल की प्राप्ति होती है, उस फल को प्राप्त करने के पास जिस आनंद का अनुभव करता है, वो अकल्पनीय है। इसलिए तुरंत किसी कर्म के फल की इच्छा का त्याग कर देना चाहिए और हमें केवल कर्म करते रहना चाहिए। आज पढ़ने वाला विद्यार्थी जो निरंतर पूरे वर्ष परिश्रम करता है, वह साल के अंत में अच्छे प्राप्तांक प्राप्त करके, अच्छे नंबर्स प्राप्त करके वह उन उपलब्धियों को प्राप्त करता है, यश प्राप्त करता है, चारों ओर उसकी प्रशंसा होती है। लेकिन यह कार्य उसने बहुत पहले प्रारंभ किया था और परिणाम फल उसे आज प्राप्त हुआ है। अगला प्रश्न ये उठता है कि ये समय और कर्म ये मिलते कहाँ हैं? दूसरा प्रश्न है, इनकी कीमत क्या है? कर्म प्रत्येक उस मनुष्य के पास मुफ्त होता है जो शरीर से स्वस्थ है। यदि आप शरीर से स्वस्थ हैं तो किसी भी प्रकार का कर्म आप कर सकते हैं। और समय मुफ्त में जीवन मिला है तो पूरा समय ही समय है, हर एक के पास होता है और इसको खरीदने जाने की जरूरत नहीं है। ये बिना किसी लागत के, बिना किसी पैसे के, बिना किसी कीमत के ये दोनों वस्तुएं प्रत्येक मनुष्य को सहज में ही प्राप्त हैं। ईश्वर ने प्रदत्त किया है जीवन, तो समय दिया है, और हाथ पैर दिए हैं, शरीर दिया है स्वस्थ, तो भी ये ईश्वर प्रदत्त है। अब इन दोनों को पाकर के भी जो गरीब रहना चाहे तो कर्म न करे, और यदि वो समृद्ध होना चाहता है, सुखी होना चाहता है, तो पढ़ लिख करके, ऐसा भी नहीं है कि केवल पढ़ा लिखा व्यक्ति ही कर्म कर सकता है, अनपढ़ व्यक्ति कर्म नहीं कर सकता। दोनों कर्म कर सकते हैं, चाहे वो गरीब हो या अमीर, अनपढ़ हो या पढ़ा लिखा। इनके बल पर मनुष्य सब कुछ पा सकता है। कोई काम नहीं है मुश्किल, जब क्या इरादा पक्का, यदि आप मन में विश्वास कर लें तो आप प्रत्येक अभीष्ट वस्तु को प्राप्त कर सकते हैं। कर्म और समय सबके पास होता है। कोई ऐसा व्यक्ति नहीं है, लूला, लंगड़ा, अपाहिज, नर नारी, बालक, वृद्ध, सब, कोई ऐसा व्यक्ति नहीं जिसके पास समय ना हो और शरीर में सामर्थ्य ना हो। इसके बावजूद भी लोग कहते हैं हम गरीब हैं, हम अभावग्रस्त हैं। आखिर क्यों? कारण वही है कि आपने ना तो कर्म किया है और न समय के महत्व को समझा है। हाँ, कर्म तब करेंगे जब समय नहीं होगा। जैसे बालकपन में प्रत्येक व्यक्ति को विद्या ग्रहण करना चाहिए, लेकिन उस समय उसने विद्या नहीं प्राप्त की, और युवा होने पर वो विद्या प्राप्त करना चाहता है तो समय निकल चुका है। या युवा होने पर वो विद्या प्राप्त करता है लेकिन धनार्जन नहीं करता, और वृद्धावस्था आने पर वो धनार्जन करना चाहता है तो अब धनार्जन के लिए समय निकल गया है। तो हर उम्र में, हर स्थिति में अलग अलग प्रकार की उपलब्धियां प्राप्त होती हैं। बाल्यावस्था में शिक्षा प्राप्त होती है, युवावस्था में धन की प्राप्ति होती है, और वृद्धावस्था में हरि भजन, भगवान का भजन और समाज कल्याण, देश कल्याण, राष्ट्र कल्याण, विश्व कल्याण के कर्म किए जाते हैं। इस प्रकार से अपने जीवन को 3 भागों में बांट करके मनुष्य कर्म करता है तो उसका जीवन सार्थक हो जाता है। हमें इस पाठ से शिक्षा मिलती है, इस पैराग्राफ से शिक्षा मिलती है, इस अनुच्छेद से शिक्षा मिलती है कि हमें कर्म और समय के महत्व को समझना चाहिए। बाद में ऐसा ना हो कि समय चूक पुन का पछताने, अका वर्षा जब कृषि सुखाने। खेती सूख जाए और फिर बारिश करी जाए तो उसका कोई महत्व नहीं, समय निकल जाए और फिर कर्म किया जाए तो उसका कोई महत्व नहीं। इस पाठ में आए हुए प्रत्येक शब्द का अर्थ आपको समझाया गया है। इसके पश्चात भी यदि किसी प्रकार का कहीं कोई परेशानी है या कोई शब्द ऐसा है जो आपकी समझ में नहीं आ रहा है तो उसे अंडरलाइन करेंगे, अपनी पृष्ठ पर, अपनी पुस्तिका पर उसको अंकित करके, और कॉन्टैक्ट नंबर सबके पास है मेरे, तो आप कॉन्टैक्ट नंबर लेकर के अपने प्रश्नों को पूछ सकते हैं, व्हाट्सएप के थ्रू पूछ सकते हैं इस प्रकार से। और इसको पॉज करके आप वाचन करेंगे, और वाचन करने के बाद इससे रिलेटेड कुछ प्रश्न हम आपको दे रहे हैं, जिन मौखिक प्रश्नों के उत्तर आपको अपनी उत्तर पुस्तिका में लिखने हैं। पहला प्रश्न ये है कि उस वृद्ध ने किस प्रकार का कर्म और किस प्रकार का हीरा और किस प्रकार का मोती उस युवक को संभाल कर रखने के लिए दिया था। एक प्रश्न फिर से सुन लें। उस वृद्ध ने उस युवक को किस प्रकार का हीरा और किस प्रकार का मोती संभाल कर रखने को कहा। दूसरा प्रश्न है, वह युवक एक हीरा कर्म का और एक मोती समय का, इस वाक्य के मुख्य अर्थ को क्यों नहीं समझ पा रहा था। अगला प्रश्न है, हमारे पास 2 बहुमूल्य वस्तुएं क्या हैं। हमारे पास 2 बहुमूल्य वस्तुएं क्या हैं। अगला प्रश्न, कर्म करने के लिए क्या कर्म करने के लिए किसी व्यक्ति का अमीर होना आवश्यक है? क्या कर्म करने के लिए किसी व्यक्ति का अमीर होना आवश्यक है? इस प्रकार से इन मौखिक प्रश्नों के उत्तर आप कॉपी पर लिखेंगे और इसका वाचन करेंगे। धन्यवाद।
Hello students, today I am going to explain English language of chapter English language of class 8 chapter 1st, which name is phrases and clauses. Phrases and clauses. So first of all, we will know about phrases. Phrase in Hindi it is called वाक्यांश. Okay. So what is phrase? First of all, we will come to know about what is phrase. What is the definition of phrase? A phrase is a group of words which does not contain a verb and subject. It does not give complete sense. This is called phrase. A phrase does not contain a verb, and subject. Moreover, it does not give a complete sense. So now we have to come to know that a phrase does not contain a verb and it does not contain a subject. This is only a group of words. A group of words, for example, in the evening, on the table, you can write a blind man. These all word groups does not give complete sense. These are only the word groups. So, a word group which does not contain a verb or subject and does not give a complete sense, that is called phrase. In the evening, this does not give a complete sense. On the table, this also does not give a complete sense. A blind man, this does not give a complete sense. Only this creates meaning of the words. So this is known as phrase. Now, what are the kinds of phrases? You have come to know. Now you will know what is. You have known what is phrase. Now what are the kinds of phrases? A phrase has three kinds. A phrase has three kinds. There are three kinds. First one is adjective phrase. Second is adverb phrase. And third is noun phrase. So a phrase does three activities or three acts, which are adjective phrase, adverb phrase, noun phrase. Adjective phrase. What is adjective phrase? An adjective phrase does the work of adjective. An adverb phrase does the work of adverb, or an adverb phrase qualifies verb. A noun phrase does the work of noun. An adjective phrase, it qualifies the noun of the sentence or subject of the sentence. Now we will come to know, or we will learn about adjective phrase. What is adjective phrase? Number one. Adjective phrase. An adjective phrase does the work of adjective, or an adjective phrase qualifies a noun or pronoun. For example, I saw a blind man. A blind man. I saw a blind man. This is an adjective phrase. The man in red shirt is my friend. The man in red shirt is my friend. In red shirt. In red shirt. This is the word group. In red shirt. In red shirt. The man in red shirt is my friend. So this word group in red shirt qualifies the noun man. A blind man qualifies a man who is blind. Okay. I saw a blind man. A blind man is quality of a man, which is adjective phrase. So in this way we can understand that what is an adjective phrase. An adjective phrase is a group of word which qualifies a noun. Now we will discuss about adverb phrase. Second is adverb phrase. So an adverb phrase does the work of adverb, and it qualifies a noun. It qualifies a verb. An adverb phrase qualifies a verb used in the sentence. A verb used in the sentence. It qualifies a verb. An adverb qualifies a verb. So how it qualifies? Let us see. The students are playing in the field. The students are playing in the field. In the field. This is word group, which qualifies verb play. The students are playing, but where they are playing? They are playing in the field. So the word group in the field qualifies verb playing. So in this way, this is a adverb. This is an adverb phrase. An adverb phrase does many work. does different kinds of work, like an adverb. You can understand from here as a note. An adverb phrase indicates place, manner, time, frequency, etc. So, in this way, an adverb phrase indicates place, manner, time, frequency, all the things in a sentence. Like in this sentence, the students are playing in the field. In the field, where are the students? If we put the question, where are the students playing? The students are playing in the field. In the field. So this phrase in the field indicates a place. In this way, an adverb phrase tells us about place, manner, time, frequency. Other example. Sarita sang the song very beautifully. Very beautifully. Sarita sang the song very beautifully. Very beautifully. How Sarita sang the song? Very beautifully. So, very beautifully, this is a word group. This also indicates an adverb phrase which qualifies the verb sang. Sarita sang. How she sang? She sang very beautifully. So, in both the sentences, adverb phrase indicates place and manner. Now, we will discuss about noun phrase. What is the noun phrase? Let us see. The third one is noun phrase. The third one is noun phrase. Noun phrase. A noun phrase does the work of noun in a sentence. And a noun phrase does the work of noun in a sentence. So, for example, a man in a red shirt came into my room. A man in a red shirt came into my room. A man in a red shirt. This is a noun phrase. Because this word group does the work of subject in a sentence, and this is a noun. So, a noun phrase does the work of noun in a sentence. It may be, you can also understand it in this way. A noun phrase may be a subject or an object. A noun phrase may be a subject or an object in a sentence. For example, they saw a blind man at the corner. They saw a blind man at the corner. Saw a blind man. So this is an object. A blind man. This is an object of the sentence, and this does the work of noun here. They saw a blind man at the corner. At the corner. This is also a phrase, but this is phrase of this is adverbial phrase, and this is a noun phrase. This is a noun phrase, and this is an adverb phrase, because this indicates a place at the corner, and this indicates about a man, and which does the work of object here in this sentence. So in this way we can understand that a noun phrase does the work of noun. It may be a subject or an object in a sentence. Now we will go through this exercise of class 8. In question B, you can see here, identify the types of phrases. You have to identify the types of phrases. I enjoy helping the kitchen. I enjoy helping the kitchen. So helping in the kitchen, this is an phrase. This is a phrase, and this is a noun phrase. The shoes have legs made of satin. Made of satin is this is an adjective phrase. The boy danced in a funny manner. In a funny manner. This indicates that this tells us a manner. So this is a adverb phrase. In some time, he will come here. In some time, this indicates time. So this is a adverb phrase. The man in blue boots. This is a noun phrase. The man in blue boots. Sikha and Manan enjoy singing together. Enjoy singing together. This is noun phrase. The book has a cover made of leather. This is an adjective phrase. We enjoyed going to the party. Going to the party. This is a noun phrase. So in this way, you can identify the noun phrase, adverb phrase, and adjective phrase in the exercise. Thank you. Students, good morning. Yesterday I taught you phrases and clauses. Phrases and clauses. And in clauses, I taught you that there are 3 types of clauses. Which are principal clause, subordinate clause, and coordinate clause. There are 3 types of clauses: principal clause, subordinate clause, and coordinate clause. So principal clause I taught you. Now today I am going to tell you what is subordinate clause. Subordinate clause. Subordinate clause is a clause which is dependent on principal clause. Its other name is dependent clause. Its other name is also dependent clause. Means subordinate clause is also known as dependent clause, because subordinate clause is dependent on principal clause. And for example, I know that he is ill. I know that he is ill. That he is ill, this is a subordinate clause, and I know is principal clause. This is principal clause, and this is subordinate clause. Subordinate clause. So in this way we can understand that a subordinate clause is dependent on principal clause, and a subordinate clause always begins from a subordinating conjunction. A subordinating conjunction, that this is a subordinating conjunction. So you always remember that a subordinate clause always begins from a subordinating conjunction, and this clause is also known as dependent clause. Now, what are the subordinate clauses? We will study here the kinds of subordinate clauses. Subordinate clause. Subordinate clause has three types or three kinds: noun clause, adjective clause, and adverb clause. Adverb clause. In the previous video, I mistakenly I taught you the types of clauses, that adverb, noun clause, and adjective clause and adverb clause. But these are the types of subordinate clause. Subordinate clause has three types: noun clause, adjective clause, and adverb clause. Now, what is noun clause? What is noun clause? Noun clause, a noun clause does the work of noun. A noun clause does the work of noun, and a noun clause often begins from that, who, what, etc. These are the subordinate conjunction: that, who, what. These are the subordinate conjunction, and a noun clause often begins from these conjunctions. For example, that he will come today is true. That he will come today is true. That he will come today is true. That he will come today. This is a noun clause, and this clause does the work of noun. So in this way we can understand that a noun clause does the work of noun, and a noun clause often begins from that, who, what, etc. Now, what is adjective clause? What is adjective clause? Let us understand. What is an adjective clause? An adjective clause does the work of adjective. Does the work of adjective. An adjective clause does the work of adjective. Means adjective clause qualifies the principal clause or the noun used in the principal clause. For example, I sold the house which was very old. Which was very old. I sold the house which was very old. So I sold the house which was very old. Very old. So which was very old. This is an adjective clause, and this adjective clause qualifies the noun house. I sold the house which was very old. He knew the man who was blind. Who was blind. He knew the man who was blind. He knew the man. He knew the man. This is principal clause. Who was blind is adjective clause, and the man was blind. This is adjective clause. This qualifies the man. So in this way, we can understand that an adjective clause does the work of adjective, and an adjective clause qualifies the noun used in the principal clause. So these are the subordinating conjunctions which tells us that this portion is an adjective clause. Now, adverb clause. What is an adverb clause? Let us understand here. What is an adverb clause? What is an adverb clause? What is an adverb clause? An adverb clause does the work of adverb, or you may say that it qualifies the verb using the principal clause. For example, they followed me wherever I went. Wherever I went. Followed me. They followed me wherever I went. So wherever, this is an adverb clause, and adverb clause qualifies the verb followed. They followed wherever I went. उन्होंने मेरा अनुसरण किया जहां भी, उन्होंने मेरा पीछा किया जहां भी मैं गया. तो पीछा किया जहां भी मैं गया. पीछा करने का जो विशेषता बताता है वर्ड ग्रुप, वो क्या है? Wherever I went. So in this way we can understand that an adverb clause qualifies the verb, and an adverb clause, in the previous video I have taught you that an adverb clause tells us about the place, manner, frequency, time, etc. So in this way we can understand an noun clause, an adjective clause, and an adverb clause. Thank you.
Periods in history. The ancient period. The ancient period is generally considered to be the period before the 8th century. It is believed that a change from this period to the medieval period occurred with the arrival of the Turks in India. The medieval period. The medieval period starts from the 8th century to the 18th century. The process of setting up an empire by the Turks brought about profound changes in the way of life of people. The modern period means that period of history that you live in. But this word is used by Indian historians to describe those events and those styles of administration, art, architecture, etc. period.
Good morning, class. So today we will learn first chapter of history, and the name of the chapter is When, Where and How. On the screen you can see that the chapter name is not clear, okay, but I know the chapter and I'm telling the name of the chapter, so you can write when, where and how. In this chapter, what we will understand, there are some topics has been written on the chapter, that is periods in history, new inventions, colonizations, industrial revolution, capitalism and modern period in India. These all points we will understand in this chapter, okay. What is the meaning of these points? We will understand them, okay. So first we will read this. Let's get started, okay. History is the study of changing pattern in society. History is the study. We learn so much things, okay. If we talk about our family, in our family, what our grandfather, grandmother did in their life, okay, how we know about them? We know about them by our fathers or mother or our relatives. They told us about them. And the same things, the things about the society, what was going on, okay, in historian time, before 10 years, before 20 years, before 50 years, before 100 years, these about all these patterns, okay, we studies, and that is possible through the history. No two periods are alike in history. Okay, the word alike, A-L-I-K-E, alike means similar, similar or equal, similar or equal or like means same. Two periods are not be same in the history, okay. Just remember this. Two things not be possible as same. There will be some difference between both of them. It is the study of change. This is called the study of change, in which two periods should not be same as. The change that occur over time constitute the essence of history. The change which we see, okay, the change we see constitute. What is the meaning of constitute? Constitute means जोड़ना, गठन करना or add. In English, if we will say constitute means to add the things, to make the things, to build up them, and the essence of history. What is the meaning of essence? Essence means summary. Essence means summary or the main point. Okay. This change occurs. This all change, okay, made up, and we see the all changes through the constitute, through the adding them. Okay. Next, we will see what has been written. If you don't know the occur means happen. Okay. B-E-B. We try by studying history, we try to know how things were in the past and how they have changed over the years. Through the history, we can find out what we can find out. through the history we can find out that what was in the past. Okay, what was in the past and how things were in the past. What was, how, and where. Okay, as we know, the chapter name is what, where, and how. Next, so we can find out through the history, we can find out that what was in the past. Next, things that we see today have their roots in the past. Whatever we can see today we are seeing we are able to see lots of things are there. So we can see all these things through past. These all has added through the roots. By the roots, they have added the past. Over time, history has developed and evolved. So, over time, history has developed. What is the meaning of develop? You know about the development. So, history has having development and also evolved. Evolved means there are lots of meaning, but evolved we can say moved. Okay, moved, or it's also the synonym of developed. Once it revolved around the life of powerful people, personality based. Now history has become the study of the common people, their lives, and also about new ideas. It has become a study of how societies and economic change with time. Let's see. There are lots of change happen in the history. Okay, we can see the change happen in place to place and time to time. Okay, the things has been changed, lots of things has been changed, and we are able to see them. Our parents, many times our parents told us about that. They teach us, and we should understand them, that how the things has been changed. And once it revolved around the life of powerful people, mostly we learn the things about the powerful people or having a good personality. Okay, revolve. What is the revolve means? Revolve means over, 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 or revolve. Revolve means घूमना, or think means सोचना. Now history has become the study of common people, means there is no any types of foundation that people, the common people, cannot study the history. But nowadays, everyone have the right to study the history. Okay. Let's see. We will start from the periods in history. How the history has divided, in how many parts it has been divided. So we will understand here. First, periods in history. Mostly, the history has been divided in 3 parts. Okay, the ancient period, the medieval period, and the modern period. So first we will talk ancient period. What is ancient period? Let's see. The ancient period is generally considered to be the period before the 8th century. It is believed that the change from this period to the medieval period occurred with the arrival of the Turks in India. Means before 18th century, whatever was going on before 8th century will be considered in ancient period. Before 8th century, just read it carefully, understand it carefully. If you have any doubt, you can ask me. Okay, before the 8th century. ठीक है, but it is believed that when the Turks enter in India, the medieval period starts. Okay, next. Now we will understand second point, the medieval period. The medieval period starts from the 8th century to the 18th century. The process of setting up an empire by the Turks brought about profound change in the way of life of the people. So, in medieval period, we have seen before that the period before the 8th century is called ancient period, and the same after 8th century to 18th century, that period is considered in the medieval period. After 8th century to 18th century. Okay, and that time it is believed that when Turks enter into India. Okay, Turks in India. Next, the process of setting up an empire by the Turks. When Turks enter in India and they start setting up an empire. Okay, when they start setting up an empire, empire is the synonym of kingdom. Kingdom, K-I-N-G-D-O-M, kingdom, okay, by the Turks brought about profound changes in the way of the life of the people. When they start setting up their kingdom, okay, so profound means deeply means gehra, okay. Turks bring, this is the second form of bring means took, लेना या लाना चीजों को, okay. Turks brought about profound change in the life of the people, okay. They feel a very deep change. The change from the medieval to the modern period occurred with the arrival of the British to the source of India. The change from the medieval to modern period. We have read about the ancient period. We have read about the medieval period, but here they are talking about after medieval period to modern period. The things changed after the arrival of British. After the arrival of British to the source of India. Source of India, you can say about the shore means coast, C-O-A-S-T, coast or near the sea. When they come starting to India or near the Indian Sea, the new change occurred. Now we will read about the modern period. The modern period means that period of history that you live in, okay, in which period today we all are living, that period is considered as modern period. But this word is used by Indian history to describe those, but this word is used means modern history, the modern period word has been used by Indian historians to describe those. On the next page we will see, describe those events and those styles of administrations, art, architecture, etc. that have developed during the late 18th, 19th and the 20th century. So for describing these all things, they have used the word modern history or the modern period. Okay, for the descriptions of these administrations, art, architectures, etc. And also the time of late 18th, 19th and 20th century. Next, thus the modern history of India covers mainly the following events and development. Means in India, the modern history covers means write or see mainly the following events. But let's see. First, the establishment of the power of the East India Company. The establishment of the power of East India Company. Establishment is the synonyms of installations, okay, or foundation. The foundations of the power of East India Company. Second, the British administrations. What is the meaning of administrations? We can say administrations means arrangement. Its Hindi word is prashasan, sasan prabandh, etc. Their economic and revenue policies causing the ruin of trade and Indian handicraft, as well as starting the process of industrialization. The economic and the revenue policies. The policies which they have started, either they are regarding revenue. Revenue, we can say income policies, economic policies, okay, which ruin means destroy, बर्बाद कर देना or destroy. The trade and Indian handicraft. Trade means, you know very well, trade means market, business, okay, and handicraft things. Handicraft, that time people work very hard with the help of their handwork, okay. It's also called handicraft. Handicraft, such types of craft which people make themselves, okay, as well as starting the process of industrialization. When the industrialization was starting, that also resumed, okay. Next, source of modern period. For how we will see, how we will learn, how will we see about the modern history or modern period by the primary sources or in the primary sources. First, archaeological sources. Let's see. Archaeological means old one. We can also say in Hindi we will say पुरातात्विक or पुराने संबंधी. Okay. Archaeological source includes monuments and the artifacts. Monument and the artifact. Monument we can say statues or memorial. And if we talk about next, artifact means we can say work of art, okay, work of art. They are located in different parts of India. Some of the important monuments are India Gate, Parliament House, etc. Okay, some of the archaeological sources are India Gate and Parliament House. Okay, next, official record. Official record. What is official record? Let's see. The Mughal introduced the culture of recording everything. Who started? The Mughals started to recording or the Mughal introduced. First time the introduction of official record was introduced by Mughals. So Mughal introduced or this new thing to record everything. This was further and practiced by the British. Okay, that was not stopped. That was continued with by British also, because after Mughals who was ruling in India, the British. The every administrative decision was recorded and carefully preserved. Okay, every administrative decision, whatever the decision were taking, these all were carefully preserved. Preserved, we can say, preserved, protect them, to protect them, okay, to safeguard. Next, every executive, legislative, and judicial body has record rooms in which even the smallest record were kept well catalogued. The word executive, legislative, judicially, we will understand these words in our civics chapter first. Okay, but here I will also explain. Executive means acting, to work. Okay, acting or work. Next, in Hindi we can say legislative, Karni Sabha. Next is legislative. Legislative means legislative means a decretive. DECRETIVE. Decretive means also we can say law book. Okay, or in Hindi we will say Vidhan ka ya Vidhan Sambandhi. Okay, and the next word is judicial. Next word is judicial. Judicial means is related to अदालत, ठीक है, और अदालती और न्यायतंत्र. Okay, whatever the decision were taking at the record rooms. Okay, where the smallest record were kept. Smallest record were kept carefully. And what has been written? Record were kept well catalogued. Catalogued means listed or list. LISTED. Okay, it is second form. That will be also second form, listed. LISTED. Thus, the proceeding of each government department is available to us. This had helped historians immensely in their study of period. Because of them, because we have the record, it's helped us. Okay, we can able to read us. We are able to read them. We are able to understand them. That what is the reality, and what were the past. Okay, and this had helped historians immensely. Immensely means more, MORE, or ज़्यादा. Okay, it cause of having record, the historians had helped to study that time period. Many of the official records are now preserved in the National Archives of India. Many official records, after them, people started to preserve them, to saving them carefully. So all these has been saved. Okay, has been saved in the Archives of India. Means recorder. Archives means record. National Record of India. Archives. The synonyms of archives is recorder. R-E-C-O-R-D-E-R, recorder. Okay, next. C point is there, and in C point we see newspaper and magazines. Newspapers provide important information belonging to particular period. On a particular period, on a proper period, through the newspaper, we can get the information. Okay, that information also related to that times of period. Belonging means related to that proper period. Pamphlets are important as they reflect the popular feeling, and letters are significant as they help us understand the situation prevailing at that moment. Pamphlets. You can see nowadays there are people use pamphlets for advertisement. Okay, they used if you see the advertisement of the school of and coaching or tuition outside the school, on the wall there are lots of advertisement. Okay, many pamphlets has been pasted there, so they are important. People will see and they will attract towards the pamphlets. People will having enthusiasm to understand them, to know more about them. So through the pamphlets, what we can see that what was how the people was reflect, how the things were there, how the people having feeling that times, how they were using, which types of letters they were using, which font they were using, which type of fashion was there at that time. So through this we can understand more and more about that period and situation prevailing at that moment. What is the meaning of prevailing? Prevailing. Prevailing means popular. Okay, popular at that moment. What was popular at that moment? Popular or famous. Next, original document. Original documents like government's reports, orders, and official correspondence are also some important source. Through the government documents, we can also find out about the modern period. Okay, what government give us the document or the certificate, through that we can also find out about more about that times of period. And correspondence means official correspondence. Correspondence we can say harmony. Okay, HARMONY, harmony, or adjustment, 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 etc. They provide us with important first-hand information about leading issues. They are well preserved in the archives and libraries. The word archives I have told you before. Okay, record in the record house or in the libraries. So first, before that time, how they were informing us? That time they were informing us by the handwritten. Okay, hand information, first hand information, and then they also preserved in the archives or in the record house. Okay, and the last topic is surveys, census, etc. During the British rule, various surveys were considered like population surveys, revenue surveys, land surveys, etc. Mapping was also an important part. During the British rule, various surveys we can say Gadana Karna, to find out the things. Okay, so here we see that document, graphication, dictation, or record. Surveys we can say record, RECORD. In that record, population surveys, they also were recording the population, about the revenue, about the income and land, and also the map. Okay class, so mostly we have completed till surveys and census till here. If you have any doubt, you can ask me in the comment box. So what is your homework? You will write all the hard work of this chapter, and you will try to find out more and more about this chapter through the online. You can also find out, okay, and you will also read this chapter yourself. And after this I will also play a video. You can see more about the ancient period, medieval period and the modern period. Okay, thank you.